What's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. In case you couldn't tell by the title of today's video, I will be sharing with you 15 tips that you can use to improve your productivity whilst studying at home. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so the first tip on my list is to fake it. Now, you're probably going, what do you mean? But pretty much what I mean is just simply pretend. Pretend that you have to go into university to attend your classes. Pretend that you actually have to wake up and get ready to go to work. Just pretend. So what I mean by this is create a routine that you would use if you were actually going into school or university, or if you were actually going to work. If you were actually going to university, you couldn't just sleep in until 8:30 in the morning, stay in your pajamas and attend your class. You'd have to get up out of your bed, go get ready, get changed and go to class. So pretend that you've got to do just that. Wake up at the same time each morning, go to bed at the same time each night, and do what you would usually do if you were going to school or university. Keep the same structure as your university timetable. So attend your classes when you're meant to be attending your classes, and have your breaks when you're meant to be having your breaks. This structure will not only ensure that you keep up to date with all your work, but it'll also ensure that you remain productive. Number 2 is to organize. Now, I probably like organizing more than the average human being, but it's definitely something that keeps me productive and helps me to prioritize my tasks. So by being organized and listing out when you have classes, when you need to do that assessment by, when you need those notes done, will help you in the long run to ensure that you get all the work done that you need to and that you don't fall behind. Tip number 3 is your environment. The environment surrounding your study space is extremely important, and there are 3 major categories that affect this: the ambience, the air quality, and the mood or the lighting. Lighting is extremely important because if you have a dimly lit room, you will find yourself nodding off and struggling to pay attention to the tasks at hand. This is because you're sending signals to your brain saying, oh, the room is dark. Dark equals nighttime, and nighttime equals, well, sleep. So ensure that you have adequate lighting and that your room is nice and bright to not only keep you awake, but to keep you alert as well. The air quality in your room is also something that is extremely important. That includes things like the temperature, the humidity, and like I said, just general air quality. Open up a window, get some fresh air. Not only will this help clear your mind, but it'll also ensure that your body temperature stays normal as opposed to getting too hot or too cold, which also affects your focus. The third category is ambience. Sound like such a hospitality student. So the ambience is pretty much the mood surrounding the room. So if you have candles lit, if you have twinkly lights on, if you have your diffuser burning, pretty much just the mood that you create in your environment. So for me, by lighting a candle or burning my diffuser, I'm in the mood to study, I'm in the mood to work and to be productive. Tip number 4 is to have a separate study space. Now, I can't stress how important this is. If you are someone who likes to study in your bed, you'll probably find that you actually don't sleep as well as you could. And this is because your mind associates different aspects of your house with different things. You wouldn't go to the kitchen to fall asleep. Your mind knows that by going to the kitchen, you're going to get fed. Same goes with your bed. Keep your bed a separate space where you can purely just relax and rather study at a desk or study at a table, but make sure that these spaces are all separate. By having a separate study space, you will find that you are able to focus much more. You won't be falling asleep at your desk, and you'll just be getting much more done. Okay, so the next tip is something I've been doing for a while now, purely because of all its benefits, and that is to write your notes beforehand. Whether you're a university student or a high school student, if you have access to your class notes beforehand, it is worth your while to write out the notes before actually having to attend that class or lecture. For me personally, I find that my classes go much quicker online than they do when it's usually face-to-face. Therefore, I'm not able to keep up with not only writing my notes, but actually listening to what the lecturer or teacher has to say. So I started doing my readings from my textbooks as well as writing out my notes before the lecture, so that when I actually attend the lecture, I'm paying attention to what is being said, and if I know that there's a certain aspect to that class that I struggle with, I can then ask the relevant questions rather than having to write it all down, half listen to what the teacher's saying, and formulate a question. It's just so much easier to keep these things separate. Tip number 6 is to have a separate notebook for your questions, and only have questions written down in that notebook. So like I said before, I have been writing my notes prior to my lecture. This helps me to identify any topics that I struggle with, and therefore I can ask questions about it during the lecture. So to ensure that I keep my regular notebooks neat and tidy, I write my questions separately so that my other notebook isn't left cluttered and full of random things. Number 7 is to write a summary. Now this completely depends on you as a person and how you choose to study for your final exams. But for me personally, I have found that not only writing out my notes prior to the lecture, then asking my questions, at the end of each topic, I write a summary of that specific topic. Just a couple of dot points that briefly go over everything that was discussed in the topic. This will help me when I have to go and study for my final exams, as well as it just helps you to remember the content that you learned before. It's a form of revision that literally takes you 10 minutes, but will help you to remember things so easily. So give it a try if you want to. Number 8 is also something that is extremely important. I think I've said that for every single number, but they're all important. But this one is extremely important for not only your physical health but also your mental health, and that is to move your body. If you were at work or if you were at university, you would have different classes to attend at different times. You would have to walk in between lecture halls, as well as walk to the cafeteria or walk to the printer. That is something that people forget to do when working from home. So that's why I said keep the same structure as you would usually have when you're at school, because this allows you time to get up out of your chair, away from your desk, and to move your body. Okay, so tip number 9 is to avoid distractions. Something that is much easier said than done, at least for me. So I have a tendency to scroll through Instagram for too many hours of a day. So there are these amazing apps such as Flora and Cold Turkey that actually block you out of websites such as Instagram or YouTube. You can download these apps either online or on your phone, and pretty much they just, like I said, block you from using that application for as long as you set it the timer to be. So if I have classes from 11 to 1 and I choose to block out that time from 11 to 1, I will not be able to access YouTube. From 1 p.m. onwards, I will then be able to distract myself. But this is something that just makes keeping your distractions at bay much more easier. Tip number 10, I think everyone can relate to. Since being at home in quarantine / isolation, the amount of snacking that goes on, oh my gosh, too much snacking. And a lot of people will find that they have gained 5 kilos and they won't know why. It's because all we do is snack. So to avoid snacking, keep a bottle of water by your desk at all times. So whenever you're feeling hungry, you just take a sip and it will actually help you to feel a bit more full, therefore avoiding snacking, as well as keeping you hydrated. So it's just a win-win. Tip number 11 is to study with a friend. So if you have friends that are taking the same classes as you, why not FaceTime them and attend the class together? This is something that has definitely helped me, 1, attend my classes, and 2, keep myself accountable for things. So I like to FaceTime my friend Harry before classes, and we just discuss what's going on in the class. We have a good time, and not only does it make me feel good because I'm actually interacting with a human being and actually talking to someone, but like I said, it keeps you accountable because you both have to study, so you're both forcing one another to study together, I guess. I don't know. But it also makes studying that much more fun. Number 12 is to split up tasks. Now, if you don't have a long attention span, this is your holy grail. Split up tasks so that you're working for 25 minutes and then you have a 10-minute break. This will make you feel so much more accomplished because once you hit that 25 minutes, you'll be like, ugh, you would have felt like you've got something done and that you can now reward yourself by going on your phone for the next 10 minutes. Splitting up tasks will not only make it easier for you to complete those tasks, but like I said, it will make you feel a lot more fulfilled at the end of it. Tip number 13 is, once again, something I've already spoken about, but it is to get ready for the day. So get changed out of your pajamas, out of your comfy clothes, and put on something that you would actually wear if you were to attend university or go to work. This not only boosts your confidence, but also enhances your productivity because you feel like you are ready and prepared for the day. You know what they say, dress for success. Number 14 is something you have heard throughout your entire life, and I'm here to tell it to you again. And that is to get enough sleep and enough rest. Sleep is so incredibly important when it comes to focusing and keeping your energy levels up. My 15th and final tip is to write a to-do list. Write down all the tasks that you need to complete within that specific day and prioritize your top 3. These 3 objectives will give you something to work towards throughout the entire day and will leave you feeling incredibly satisfied when you get to mark it off your list. Alrighty guys, that was it for today's video. If you learned something new or if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It will really support my channel, as well as subscribe down below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in next week's video. Bye!